So our first presentation will be by Siw Waffenschmidt and Elke Hausner, both at the Institute for Quality and Efficiency in Healthcare in Germany. And their talk is entitled Search Strategy Development at a German Health Technology Assessment Agency, Our Experience with R from an End User Perspective.
Yeah, hi everyone. Elke and we are going to talk about search strategy development. First, we're going to give you some background information, then we take a look back because we used R from 2008 to 2011. And we are going to talk about our current situation and give an outlook. So, our agency is conducting systematic reviews to inform the German healthcare system. On the base of these systematic reviews, decisions in the healthcare section in Germany will be done. And Elke and we are from the Information Management Department at IQWiG. That's a short version of the long version, IQWiG. And in this department, we have 8 information specialists, and we are conducting or developing around about 200 searches per year. And from 2008 onwards, we were looking for support in the development of search strategies. And it was because during the first years of IQWiG, we had a lot of interaction and discussions with the project managers about the searches. So the project managers would say, this is a term, or these terms, they are super important and they have to be in the search strategy. And we had the feeling that these terms might not be so important. And they would really increase the garbage of the results of the search. So, but we had no way of we had no arguments to solving these discussions. So we started to implement text mining. Because we wanted to have, because we are from an evidence medicine, our work is based on evidence-based medicine. So we thought we would like to base our approach on evidence-based facts. And our work is based on Jenkins 2004. That is a publication that describes the development of search filters. And we did the same. We generated test sets and we based our search strategies on discussion around the test sets. And it's a more objective approach. And then we also have more way on discussing and making decisions about the search strategy. I would like to give you an example. This is a search we did in 2006 about prostate cancer without text mining. And as you could see, you don't really have to understand what each of the search lines do and what they include. Just a look on it, you can see it's very complex and complicated, and you don't really know where are the different search concepts, what is done. And that is also a thing because, of course, when you add search terms, because someone says, oh, I woke up in the night and there's another search term we have to add, then what happens is the search gets really big, and the project manager tells you, no, yet that's not possible. I can't really have a look at 10,000 hits. So you have to find a way to reduce the hits. And by doing that, before that, it was really by chance what you're doing, and you were not really sure if that is really a good way. So we updated the search in 2010 with our new more objective approach, and that is what the search looked like at the end after the update. So there are really, you could see less search terms, and it's a more clear search. So, so that is just an example why and we did that and what we have been doing. Yeah, so
Yeah.
Elke.
How did we get there? I take a look back. So we were looking in 2008 for a tool that supports our work. We were looking for a text mining tool, and there were some tools already available. The pub reminder, it's still online, so maybe you've heard about that. But we were looking for a tool which has a little bit more functions, and we were having a colleague in our team. He was using R for his statistical analysis, and he suggested, why don't we try out the package TM? And we started working with TM. The author is Ingo Feinerer, and also this tool is still available, and it's being updated regularly, the last time in November 2020. How we used this tool, what did we use it for? We used it to split the text in separate files. That was one thing we did. We prepared the references for analysis. It was called transformation. And then we performed the text analysis itself. Also, we already had the possibility there to compare our references to a population set. So references, we could compare our references to see which terms are overrepresented. On the next slide, you can see a screenshot from TM in R, and you see these lines of coding. And then on the next slide is basically the output. So we used the frequency table you can see on the upper side. And starting from that, we choose the terms for developing the search strategy. We identified, when we use it, really some advantages using a package like TM. It was very flexible with almost unlimited functions, so tokenizer, word stemming, all this. And we also saw that there are many options to further develop packages, to use the other packages in R and so on. But we did not use it by them because we did not have the knowledge to actually further develop it. We also saw some disadvantages on the other side. It was that there was just no graphic user interface like a shiny app, and we needed training in our environment and in the TM package. And that basically led to some kind of rejection by the information specialists because they did not have this programming skills. And that led, please press the button, that led to the situation that we switched to Wordstart, another tool, in 2011. And that's our current situation. We have been working with Wordstart for the last few years. It's also a very established tool and a program. It first released in 1998. It's available in version 9, and the developer is Provalis Research. It's a content analysis and text mining software. And we basically use Wordstart very similar to TM, but it has this user-friendly interface. I show you on the next slide. You can see here you have this different options, and you just click, 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 and then you can work with it much easier than going through this programming lines and try to adjust the code. on the other hand, the output from Wordstart, as you see here, is very similar to the one in TM. So it is very, we almost use it in the same way. So we have the overrepresented free text terms and the keywords. We have the TF-IDF values, set value. So it's very similar to TM.
Yeah, so this is the last part, the outlook. So we were looking for an alternative for quite a long time now, because one of the disadvantages of Wordstart is that it's very expensive. And also with each update, you have to pay fees again. And the other disadvantage is that Wordstart was not really made for what we are using it for. I think most users use it for qualitative evidence, to analyze qualitative evidence. So there is no real way to cooperate or to work together with the software, or to have different or new functionalities. As I said, it's not free of charge, and because of that, there is no cooperation possible with other users, and that is, we found out that is really a limitation for us. And we have no way of have further developments because the software is exactly like it is, and we have no way of changing it. The other thing is that in the last years, it is clear that the future lies in a tool that combines several steps together, and the Wordstart would not be able to do that. And it has to be integrated into other applications we have. So that is a limitation as well. And we are hoping for a tool that have these possibilities. So our requirements for a new tool would be that it has a graphic user interface, so that we are actually can use it, that there are further functionalities, and that we can develop the tool. Another thing that was obvious is, and we did not know that 10 years ago, but at the moment it's a real big topic, is that there should be no barriers for IT security. And that is a limitation as well. And it should be open source, or it should have an easy way to access, so we have the possibilities to exchange with our information retrieval community. Yeah, so these are our experiences with R in search strategy development. Thank you.